Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all doing? My name is Heng. Today is Saturday, September 27th. We're in Libra, and hope all of you are well. We're going to be explaining yet another episode of the life of Master Empty Cloud today for you. And in just a moment, Chanyu is going to do the Dharma request. So let's begin with 3 half bows from wherever you're sitting, and then we'll ask Chanyu to do the Dharma request. Here we go. 一问讯，再问讯，三问讯。Okay, Chanyu, if you'd like to request Dharma, please go ahead.
恭敬大德僧听，为此法会，济一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死，离苦得乐。速证无生。Will the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye olahadi samya samputoshi.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao samputoshi.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 好的, Chanyu, thank you for the Dharma request. Happy to do so. Let's see here. We would like to respectfully acknowledge the Kumbumeri people, Ugambe language region, as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where our monastery is located. And we pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations peoples whose sovereignty was never ceded. 那就是说，我们恭敬地承认与甘北语族的孔布玛丽人，是我们这里这个华严楞严上寺的这个道场所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民也致敬。Bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000界内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训其法界和平，利益报他脑后的。Alrighty, okay, that gets us off in the right direction. Let's see now. We have 70 friends online at the moment. Would like to tell people who speak Chinese, 如果你们各位讲中文的人想听一种流利的普通话翻译，你们的控制板右下角你可以找到 interpretation， 就有 Chinese 那里就可以听到我们的义工很发心帮我们翻译。Also, there is a Vietnamese translation as well. Go to the chat box and you'll find the link to a Vietnamese translation. Furthermore, if you would like to request Dharma, what a great chance to create some wholesome merit and virtue for your future opportunities to meet the Dharma at an early age and understand it. Then send an email to our fearless coordinator, Chen Yu. She'll be happy to set you up. Okay. Let's see who's with us today. We've got 70 friends from around the world, including countries of California, that country, Australia, where else? Canada, Malaysia, let's see here, states of Colorado, and then China, Heilongjiang, and Canada, and Singapore, and let's see, this is Guangdong, okay. Ian is here from Brisbane. Hi, Ian. Jane from Berkeley, Jennifer from Los Altos, Jensen's here from Indonesia. Dharma Master Jin Yong is here. Let's see here, state of Kansas, New York City, Chinatown, Singapore, Bay Area, Taipei, Alameda, Mesa, Calgary, Alberta. Ye Bing Hong, oh, glad you're here. Nice to see you. Richard is here. Sarah's in Pittsburgh. Tina's in Oklahoma. Guoji's home in Alameda. We have Willie in Virginia. Let's see here. Then we have Malaysia. We've got Taipei. Nali. Heilongjiang, Liaoning, Shandong, Tianjin, Xi'an, Heilongjiang, Suzhou. Where else here? Shanxi, Baoji. Okay, good. Jilin, Anhui, Heilongjiang, Beijing. Yo Beijing. Let's see here. Calgary, Kajali. OK， 那就加拿大，江苏还有珠海、哈尔滨、辽宁、广东，中国各地啊。Let's see here， 山东、黑龙江、苏州、江苏 and 河南。All right, we're all glad you're here. Hey, Master Empty Cloud, we got just an astonishing story today. Let me give you the background. I'll bring up let's see here. Here we are. This is, there we go, the teaser. So what happened? Master Empty Cloud was explaining Dharma in Bangkok. And without knowing quite how he did it, he slipped into a state of samadhi. He was meditating and he just didn't stop. He just kept meditating. And one day passed and people were like, wow, he missed dinner. Oh, he doesn't eat dinner. Oh, well, he missed breakfast. It's the second day. He didn't stop meditating for lunch. He's been at it for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. The word spread out. People started to talk. There's a monk from China meditating at this monastery, and he hasn't moved for 7 days. At this point, the news comes to the king of Thailand, and he, along with his courtiers, come over as a devout Buddhist. He wants to pay his respect to an extraordinary monk. 9 days pass. Master Empty Cloud, someone rings a bell, probably sounding something like this. And he opened his eyes and said, oh, I guess did I miss the lecture? Now, you've been sitting for 9 days. Oh, well, what do you know about that? So the king is thrilled with this information that there's a sage-like monk in Bangkok. Invites Master Empty Cloud to the king's palace, to the royal palace, and makes offerings to him suited to a sage. Really, really makes a big noise about having Master Empty Cloud in Thailand. He's thrilled to have him there. So Xu Yin Lao Hashang does some lectures in the palace, does some ceremonies, and then returns to where he was staying in the monastery. So that's the background. Now, there's a background to that story, which is he was meant to bring the Tripitaka, the Long Zang, which is the collection of the Buddhist books. It's a big deal. There isn't one in Yunnan, the entire province of Yunnan. There's no Tripitaka. And before Master Empty Cloud got to Yunnan, it was pretty lawless. The Sangha had forgotten to follow the rules, and the temples had been, torn down, fallen down. So, and this includes the place called Chicken Foot Mountain, Jizushan. Now, Jizushan is a place where Mahakashyapa is said to have meditated in a state of samadhi, waiting for Maitreya Buddha to arrive. So that's the story. And he will, if you are virtuous, they say, you can hear signs, you can hear a bell ring, you can hear wonderful reverberations going on. So when Master Empty Cloud traveled through Chickenfoot Mountain, Jizushan, that's what happened. And everybody said, oh, special monk, pay attention. And there were circumstances whereby Master Empty Cloud was refused lodging at a monastery. And that's against the rules for the Sangha. If you're a precept-holding monk, when you show up at a monastery, they're supposed to offer you hospitality. So he made a vow to create the monastery that Yunnan deserved. So he set out to do it, found the land, had some miracles happen, corrected the feng shui of the monastery that he wanted to build or rebuild. But in order to rebuild a monastery, you need money, and you need materials, and you need workers, and you need official permission. So he set about to gather all those conditions. And in the meantime, he was invited to Beijing to get the Tripitaka to bring back. And then he heard that his teacher, Master Miaolian, had entered nirvana. Chiu had passed away, right? So he's got to hustle back to Penang, in Malaysia, northern Malaysia, to take charge of the funeral ceremonies. So in the process, miracles happen, and now Master Empty Cloud has done his duty by his teacher. He needs to get to Yunnan with the Tripitaka, and the closest road to do that passes through Bangkok. That's what brought him to Thailand. And since he was there, he discovered that, you know what? He didn't have enough money. He didn't have enough resources to rebuild the monastery that he promised he was going to do. So what do? You're a monk. You can't go get a job. You can't panyuan and say, oh, I wish you would give me money. You can't do those things if you're a virtuous monk. So what do? Well, in the process of answering that question, he entered samadhi for 9 days. 9 days. Okay, the king, last week we heard about the king, got excited, made offerings. So now the excitement has calmed down and something happens. Something happens unexpected. Episode number 141. Ma Bi Bing Jia She Ru Meng, becoming paralyzed, seeing Mahakashyapa in a dream. He's 68 years old. It's 1907. Ready? Here we go. Ding Ho, Zhu Ran Ma Bi, Ji Quan Shen Ku Mu, Bu Neng Zhi Zhu, Shi Ren Wei, Yan Bu Jian, Kou Nan Yan, Yi Wu Xiao, 放下，唯一临风会飘，无人知。唯念因果泪下，其假设尊者加倍，妙缘师在侧，取茶导家舍，福入梦，见尊者言，见尊者云，衣钵不离，枕之语。Okay? So it's like those readers of Chinese know that this is, in order to get all of the events of the story into one little episode, Shifu had to really be terse, cut it down. But we got the black and white outline, let's add the color now. So after the samadhi experience of 9 days, the master's feet suddenly became numb. The numbness spread. His whole body grew wooden. The Chinese says like dried wood. He couldn't hold chopsticks. He had to be fed by others. His eyes grew dim. He lost the power of speech. Doctors' treatments were ineffective. Big trouble, right? Now, some of those meditators are going to say, oh, I don't think I'll enter samadhi. I don't want to do this. If this is what happens. Okay, the master let go of all worldly concerns. He's ready to die. He recalled, however, a money order sewn into his collar that only he knew about. Somebody had made an offering for the rebuilding of the monastery, and instead of trying to keep it in a wallet, he just sewed it into his robe, since his robe is his only clothing. But now he didn't tell anybody, and what's he afraid of? What if they cremate his body and they cremate his robe? And this is the money that was going to rebuild the monastery. Mistaken cause and effect. So he's crying, oh no. He's very careful about cause and effect, even a penny. He prayed for the aid of the Venerable Kashyapa, who is in Samadhi at Chickenfoot Mountain in Yunnan. Okay, Dharma Master Miao Yuan was at the master's bedside brewing tea and offering a cup with a prayer to the Venerable Kashyapa. The master drank the tea, and then in a dream, the Venerable Kashyapa said to him, do not let go of your robe and bowl. Use them as a pillow, and you'll be cured. Okay, who could have predicted all of this stuff, right? Look at the illustration. Here he is in bed. It's a dream. So here's the doot, 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 doot. It's a dream. Here is a monk with a beard and a halo, so you know it's a sage. He's wearing his patriarch's robe, and he's being healed, while the other monks are standing out there, standing guard. Okay, what's going on here? Ming Xuan Hu Han Yu Chen Ke Ji Yu Miao Shi Qiu Yao Tuo Mu Jie Ye Ming Sha Er Wei Zai Qiu Chi Dou Zuo Zhou He. A spontaneous cure, suddenly sweating, his serious illness vanished. A message passed through Master Miaoyuan to seek medicine from Huatuo. The tea's formula contained 2 ingredients, Mu Jie and Ye Ming Sha. Then he asked for red beans made into porridge. Okay, again, Shifu packed a lot of the story into the verse because the structure of his book is so limited that you can't put all these details completely in. So what do? We have to go to the Nianpu. Okay, now this is quite long, so I'm going to go quickly through the Chinese so the Chinese readers can get the full picture. This is just the longer story that Shifu condensed into the picture biography. Okay? 此次定后，祖开始生马臂。时指心动有爱，后则全身如枯木，不能之助，能使人畏。护法瓶中西医政治，针灸服药俱无效，没办法。甚至口不能言，目不能见，群医束手，为身心灵然，并无痛苦，一切事皆放下，独有一事放不下，等等等等。因有灰飘风在衣领，无人知者，口不能言，手不能写。万一化身时，一火烧去，在藏经不能到，祭祖山殿阁不能修建。糟糕，怎么办？劫彼因果，如何能复？四身泪下。末期迦摄尊者加倍，时有节日终南同住之妙缘法师，一个善知识，见于下泪，口微动，几近凑耳倾听，主其取茶，到迦摄府下，信能清凉。即入梦，见一老僧如迦摄状，坐于身边，以右手摸我头曰：“比丘，一钵皆无离身，汝不须有，以一钵作枕就好了。”听毕，即去一钵作枕，回头已不见尊者，通身汗下。当下越狱不能说，余稍能言，如妙师到华佗前求放药，指目犍夜明沙二位。等一下，我告诉大家什么叫目犍夜明师。后复目能失，口能言，再求一方，只吃小豆一味，以豆煮粥，云饮食，不准吃杂物。吃2天，头料能动，再求仍是吃小豆。从此以豆为食，大小便通，汇入黑气，渐渐能痛痒，能起能行。先后20余日矣。谢大众劳心费力，妙缘师日夜护持，又可感言。礼谢华佗，愿意后见前伽蓝殿，必设施位。大家看看，吕布告悲，皆如意。虚云老和尚也会问悲，对，是不是一个上前啊，下前啊？皆如意。Okay. So amazing story. So here we go. So after his samadhi, suddenly his feet started to feel paralyzed. Then bit by bit, he couldn't walk anymore. And then his entire body turned into wood, just paralyzed. He couldn't even hold chopsticks, and he had to have somebody else come and feed him. The Dharma protectors called all of the doctors, Western doctors, these Chinese doctors, acupuncture, moxibustion, medical formulas, totally useless. Nothing changed. Even to the point where I was unable to speak and I couldn't see either. So the doctors all gave up, and I couldn't feel anything. So I was ready to die. I was ready to put it all down, except, here's the magic word, there's one thing that I was not able to put down: trouble. What was that? In his mind, he remembered that there was a bank draft. Somebody had written a bank draft to build the monastery in Yunnan, and because he doesn't carry a wallet, he sewed it into the collar of his robe, and nobody knew. I couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't write a note. Uh-oh, what if I die and they cremate my body and the bank draft is burned up? Then, if that was the case, hypothetically, the Tripitaka would not make it to Yunnan, and there would be no monastery built at Chickenfoot Mountain. This stroke of cause and effect, how could I possibly bear that offense in cause and effect? So thinking of it, I just could only cry. Silently, I prayed to Mahakashyapa to please save the situation. Now, during this episode, there was a monk who was by my side, who had previously been a companion at Zhongnanshan when we were in seclusion. His name was Miao Yuan, our master Miao Yuan. Wondrous perfection. And he saw my tears crying, and so he put his ear next to my mouth to see if he could hear what I was saying. And I said, brew some tea and offer it to Mahakashyapa, the image of Mahakashyapa, and then I will drink it. And when I did that, my mind felt very clear and calm, and then I had a dream. And I saw an elderly monk who looked a little bit like Mahakashyapa, who sat on the bed beside me and rubbed the crown of my head with his right hand and said to me in the dream, Bhikshu, you have to depend upon your robe and your bowl, the two items that monks and nuns get when they ordain, and don't go anywhere apart from them. Keep them by your side at all times. Don't worry. Just take these items and use them as a pillow when you sleep, and everything will be fine. So after I heard this advice in the dream, I got my robe and my bowl, and I looked around, and the individual who looked like Mahakashyapa was gone. And instantly, I sweated my entire body, and I felt very comfortable and joyful in body and mind after that dream. I could speak a little bit at this point, and I instructed Dharma Master Miao Yuan to go to Hua Tuo. Now, this is magic. Hua Tuo is the father of Chinese medicine from the 3rd century, from the end of the Han Dynasty. A lot of the materia medica, recognizing plants and their effects, came from Hua Tuo. Said that he had a glass stomach and he could eat any kind of herb, leaf, bark, root, and tell you what it was good for. So I asked Miao Yuan to go to Hua Tuo and ask for the formula to cure whatever illness I had. The answer came back, Mu Jie. Mu Jie is a wooden comb, which you comb your hair with. Ye Ming Sha is bat poop, dried bat feces. So he's like, a wooden comb and bat feces, that's what we need. ROA. Fu Ho, after I drank them, ate them, whatever, I could see and I could speak. Zai Qiu I went to ask for another formula, and he said, red beans. 吃小豆, 以豆煮粥. So turn red beans into porridge, and then I will drink the water and eat the beans, 不准, and eat nothing else. No other item should go into my body. So I ate that for 2 days, and I could move. My paralysis went away. 在求人是, so I ate more red beans. 从此以豆为师. After that, red beans became my number one. I think they're azuki beans in Japanese, azuki beans. 大小便通汇入, and what came out of my excrement and urine was like black lacquer. Thick black lacquer was what I was excreting from my body. 渐渐至同养. And I could feel a little bit of pain and a little bit of itching, so my body's sensations were returning. 能气能行. I could stand up, I could walk. 先后21日, 20 days, 20 days in this state. 谢大众老师劳心费力. So I thanked everybody for their hard work on my behalf. 妙言师日界, Master Miaoyan took care of me night and day as a nurse. 又可感, so you can imagine my gratitude to him. 礼谢华佗, and I bowed thanks to the father of Chinese medicine, Hua Tuo. 愿以后建伽蓝殿. I vowed that I would rebuild the hall for the monastery protectors. There are two Dharma protectors. One is Wei Tuo, he protects the cultivators, and Qielan protects the monasteries. Bi she shi li shi wei. I will certainly build a hall for them. And he says, this is the last line, Lü Bu Gao Bei Jie Ru Yi. I did the fortune telling thing that are in Chinese monasteries, where you have these two things that look like, excuse me, they look like clamshells, and you clap your hands and throw them, and then you interpret the result you get, and the result was always auspicious. So people I know in Jilampo at Dongbi An, our monastery in downtown Kuala Lumpur, there was a big controversy because the monks and nuns wanted to take the fortune telling, and then these two red, they look kind of like small, a little bit like they're like clamshell, like croissants. They look like croissants. Yeah. But they're cut in, like if it was a croissant, it had a flat side. And you're supposed to clap your hands and drop them on the floor, and then the way they land on the floor, upside down, right side up, you then go over to this case that has your fortune written out, and it's called your qian, and you get there's someone who interprets the number for you, and it's either good luck or bad luck. So it was a big controversy because the monks and nuns said, this is really superstitious. The lay people said, if you don't offer this service for us, we're going to go somewhere else where they have it, because we want the fortune teller. So, yeah. Okay, look at all the miraculous aspects of this story. Number one, why did he get paralyzed after 9 days of stillness? Very interesting. And I think one of the things that you can say is our teacher is said to be an 8th-stage bodhisattva. So this is someone who has absolutely incredible spiritual evolution. This is someone who is deep, he's a lofty being. He's not ordinary in any way. And yet, look at the karma that he has to repay. Over and over, he goes through these life-threatening situations. So the conclusion is, the Avatamsaka Sutra says that each one of us has behind us a line of past lives. We have been alive over and over and over and over. And the karma of each life is with us until it's gone. And you don't know when the episode comes up for repayment. You don't know. Like Shifu, when lecturing on a sutra one night at Gold Mountain, just suddenly got very sick and came back and told us an hour later that he had killed somebody in the Han Dynasty, and that person came to claim the Shifu's life in repayment. Shifu said, well, because I've got a little bit of cultivation, he said modestly, I'm able to cross him over. Big disasters become small, small ones disappear if you have gongda, merit and virtue. So these situations came from Master Empty Cloud. He could enter samadhi for 9 days, but the result was he had to go through this incredible paralysis illness. That's one. Number two is he's the story within the story that he had a bank draft sewn into the collar of his robe, and he was really worried about the cause and effect, because if he had allowed the bank draft to be burned up when his body was cremated, then he would have a debt to repay to the donor for not sending the money where the money was supposed to go. How interesting that that's what's on his mind, is the cause and effect. They say bodhisattvas are afraid of planting the wrong causes. They don't care about the results because they know the results will come. We living beings, we're the opposite. We don't pay any attention when we're out having fun and following our desires, but then when the results come, we're like, oh no, how could this happen? So that's another one. The next one is the response in a dream. Mahakashyapa comes, don't worry, you'll be fine, but hang on to your robe and bowl. That is the solution from Mahakashyapa, who is here on my desktop. That's who this is over here on the right. So why Mahakashyapa? It's because Master Empty Cloud is bringing the Tripitaka to Jizushan in Yunnan province, which is a mountain that Venerable Mahakashyapa is connected to. Who is Mahakashyapa? Here he is, right? Here he is. This is a beautiful image of him. He is, among the Buddha's disciples, the number one disciple for ascetic practices. This is a place in India, Rajgir, Vulture Peak, where he is said to have stayed, the historical Mahakashyapa. Here's a Korean image from the 18th century. This is an image probably in the British Museum, made of marble. Here he is in the Chinese caves. This is a 5th century image. This is in the Mogao caves at Dunhuang. This Mahakashyapa is often presented as an elder. This is somebody clearly who's a tough, you can see his bones. He doesn't have the tiniest bit of fat on him. Of all the 13 ascetic practices, Mahakashyapa practiced all 13 of them. He was the toughest. And they said that he did this for life after life, along with his wife. He and his wife were both Brahmins in India. And here's a wooden image. He should have a staff. His staff is missing, right? So you see the expression on his face here. Tough guy. He was a vigorous cultivator before he met the Buddha as a Brahmin. But after he met the Buddha, he just moved right over. And they say the Buddha so much admired Mahakashyapa's cultivation, his vigor, that he would trade his robe. He would give his robe to Mahakashyapa and take his robe. So people interpreted this immediately. This is in Thailand. People interpreted that as saying that Mahakashyapa was the next teacher after the Buddha's nirvana, the first patriarch in the line after the Buddha. So that would make him the second. This is in Bihar, not far from Nalanda University, called Chickenfoot Mountain. Not the Chickenfoot Mountain in Yunnan, but a different one, where Mahakashyapa was said to be. There's a story behind this one, that Mahakashyapa is carrying the robe of the Buddha. When Shakyamuni Buddha entered nirvana, Mahakashyapa was the one who lit the funeral pyre. So now often, here he is, here's the Buddha, here's Mahakashyapa down here. So it's often the case that you will see, this is a Japanese woodblock print, Mahakashyapa. This is my desktop. You see where my desktop came from. This is a Japanese 19th century, 20th century painting. The Buddha with the flower. The story of the single flower, that's Mahakashyapa. So the Buddha raised a flower and didn't say anything. He just held the flower up. Mahakashyapa smiled, and the Buddha said, I transmit the wordless teaching, the wonderful Dharma beyond the mind, to Mahakashyapa. Okay, that's the story. So in the Chinese way, here he is again from Xinjiang. Here he is lighting the funeral pyre of the Buddha. This next one is, now, many places you'll see the Buddha in the center with two disciples left and right. This is a standard Theravada and Mahayana. So Mahakashyapa crosses over both Theravada and Mahayana. Here he is. That's Mahakashyapa by the Buddha. Who is the other one? Ananda. They are said to be the two chief disciples of Shakyamuni Buddha. Ananda, who was foremost in learning, but was often kind of careless with the precepts. And Mahakashyapa, who didn't read a book, but was absolutely pure and vigorous in all the precepts. It's said of Mahakashyapa that he met his Brahmin wife, and the two of them probably was an arranged marriage, but they decided to stay celibate. They decided to live purely. And his wife was known as a vigorous cultivator as well. So he's quite a guy. Oh my goodness, the stories about Mahakashyapa. He often scolded Ananda for being too laid back, too much interested in ideas and knowledge and learning, and not vigorous in his cultivation, to the point where, after the Buddha's nirvana, Mahakashyapa called all the monks together. He said, the Buddha told us not to write things down, but if we don't, pretty soon we'll lose them. So we're going to call a council and decide what to do with the teachings of the Buddha. So Ananda who had the best memory and was beside the Buddha for many of the teachings and knew what the Buddha had said, was not allowed into the room. Because why? Mahakashyapa said he doesn't have the requisite purity and samadhi. He's not enlightened. He can't come in. So, big brouhaha, because Ananda had all the words of the Buddha, but he didn't have samadhi. 没有定力，不够，也没有明心见性. So, Ananda was so upset about being removed, fear of missing out, right? He was not allowed to get into the room where the other arhats were holding the council and talking about how to preserve the Buddha's teaching. So Ananda was so driven by his mission to preserve the Buddha's teachings that he himself entered samadhi, meditated, and attained arhatship. And how did they know that it was the case? That he was able to enter the room without opening the door. He was able to go over the wall, so to speak, with his awakened nature and show up inside the room. Mahakashyapa said, okay, you pass. Welcome, Ananda. So Mahakashyapa and Ananda, the two chief disciples of the Buddha, have this history. Ananda became the next holder of the line after Mahakashyapa. So interesting. These are historical stories, to say legends. They're not legends. These are histories. These events actually took place. Okay, so that's Mahakashyapa. And, okay, we're not done. What about Hua-to? Let's see. I didn't look up. Let's see. Hua-to. There we go. To. Let's see what we get for Hua-to. These are images of Hua-to. He is said to be the father of Chinese medicine. And, okay, we got, here he is. And he was said to be a historical figure from the 3rd century, so the end of the Han Dynasty. And because he had this glass stomach, he was able to see and experience, after eating medicine or herbs, he could experience firsthand all of the effects of the various medicines. And so, so this is his, and then he was able to pass on his, this is a medical school, Chinese medical school. So anybody who studies Chinese medicine, be it acupuncture or herbs or moxibustion or any of the other gua sha or tui na or the other kinds of Chinese healing modalities, they all owe their gratitude to Hua-to, who was the one who is the father. So here they have him as a historical person in the 2nd century, and he from Anhui, 就是安徽人 in the Eastern Han, 华佗于东方和家中景，被称为建安三神医. There are 3 famous doctors who established Chinese medicine. So, and there are, along with Bian Xi, Zhang Zhongliang, Qi Li Shizhen, are the 4 great doctors of China. Okay, so there we have it. And Master Empty Cloud was so confident that he asked his monk nurse, Master Miaoyuan, to go ask Hua-to for the right medicine. Now, why he prescribed a wooden comb and bat droppings, I have no idea, but that's that's what he required. And then red beans. Oh my goodness. So this is, as I say, this episode has so much in it, so many details. So the red beans, interesting. When I was a feckless college student, we were interested in Zen macrobiotic cooking. This was a Japanese methodology that had made it over with Zen Buddhism to California. And one of the formulas in Zen macrobiotic cooking was the brown rice diet. And the brown rice diet was just that, brown rice only, steamed brown rice. And you seasoned it with goma shiu, which is Japanese for sesame salt. You take sea salt and toasted sesame seeds, mix them together, grind them up with a mortar and pestle, and you season your brown rice with that, and also tamari soy sauce. It's very specific. Those are the things that Zen macrobiotic cooking said were healthy. And we did a brown rice fast, 7 days of brown rice only, nothing else. And then when you broke the brown rice fast, you did it with red beans, azuki beans. And they were small red beans, said to be pure protein and very clean. This is a Japanese formula. Zen macrobiotic cooking was popular with George Ozawa, was the name of the fellow. So let's see if we can. By the way, I am not endorsing it. I don't want people to say macrobiotic. Dharma Master said that this was good. It was a Zen macrobiotic cooking. It did indeed put a lot of people onto, this was the book. Michael Abacera, Zen Macrobiotic Cooking. It opened the idea of food to a lot of young people. And this is, a story of Zen macrobiotic cooking. So, red beans was a part of that diet. And indeed, we, for some reason, we found we were in the middle of Michigan looking for Japanese red beans, azuki beans. So that's what Master Empty Cloud also took for 2 days only, and made that his chief nutrient, and by doing so, his body purged itself of who knows where this black lacquer substance came from in his body. But if you're an 8-stage bodhisattva, the caliber of Master Empty Cloud, you nothing to lose, right? So these extreme situations that his meditation gets him in. I mean, first of all, 9 days, unmoving, right? Who's to say that the strange stuff that came out of his body wasn't a result of his sitting still? Who knows what he was purging for China? Possibly at that level, the meditation that you do is not just for you yourself. He may have been Guanyin Bodhisattva's avatar. They're taking the karma of China and processing it through his body. Or it could just be episodes from his past life that he was enduring, patiently enduring because of some event of his lives past. So, mysterious to the max. First of all, being able to sit still for 9 days and then having your body turn into a piece of wood where you can't see, you can't speak. And then Mahakashyapa comes to you in a dream. Oh, I left out a part. That he gave instructions to Master Miaoyan to brew up some tea and then offer it to Mahakashyapa. As I understand what's happened, offer it on the altar and then bring it back. And then Master Empty Cloud drank the tea. I believe that's how it went. Let's see here. So, here we go. So Master Miaoyan saw the tears coming down the cheeks of the monk who was paralyzed, and I silently asked Mahakashyapa for help to help him avoid the mistaken cause and effect. So Miaoyan saw me crying, put his ear down to my mouth, and I instructed him to get some tea to offer it to Mahakashyapa, and then I drank it, and my heart felt clear and cool. Then I had the dream. And this old monk comes in and says, rubs my crown, my head, says, don't worry, just take your robe and bowl and use it as a pillow and you'll be fine. Okay, that detail too. How interesting that for Master Empty Cloud, making the robe and the bowl the symbols of the traditional lineage that who maintained? Mahakashyapa from the Buddha. He said, take those symbols of the line of teaching, put them under your head as a pillow, and you'll be fine. How interesting. This is the details of this drama are so incredibly symbolic, and it's like an opera. The plot of the things that happened to this monk, to our grand teacher. And yet he followed instructions, believed in his dream, got the robe and bowl, made a pillow, and suddenly the monk in the dream is gone, and he sweated out his body and felt really good. At that point, he asked for his assistant to go get a formula from Huato, and it was a wooden comb and bat turds, and fu-ho. After I drank that, my sight and my speech returned, and then I ate red beans for 2 days, nothing else, and my body purged itself of something that was like black lacquer. And my sensations returned. 20 days later, he was able to say, thank you, and did his fortune telling, and it was all auspicious. So, okay, whew, there we are. What an amazing story. And there are aspects in it of shamanism, there are aspects of healing, there's aspects of the Buddha's lineage, the teaching lineage. There's faith in Mahakashyapa, his Master Empty Cloud's belief in cause and effect, and his deep fear of making a mistake in cause and effect. And there's also just this amazing life of somebody who throws himself into the Dharma. If you can meditate for 9 days, you've got to be someone who walks right to the edge of birth and death and comes back and tells the story. Alrighty, that's it for today. We'll see you all next week. There's a lecture tomorrow night at 7:30 in California, 12:30 here on the Avatamsaka Sutra, some new songs, and then Sunday night in California, Monday noon here, the 10 Transferences chapter of the Avatamsaka. Can we dedicate merit? Samyak Sambuddhaya One more time. Samyak Sambuddhaya Tathagata Om Saji Samukate Swaha. Followed by 3 bows to Guanyin Pusa. You want to join me? Here we go. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. All right, that'll do it for us for today. See you all next week. Amitofo. Bye, everybody.